Hello, welcome to Movie Summaries. Today we are summarizing a 2019 suspenseful horror movie called Eli. Giving you all a fair warning, there are spoilers in this summary. Enjoy, and be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel to watch more movie summary videos weekly. The movie begins with Eli, an 11-year-old boy traveling with his parents Rose and Paul to a private medical facility. Eli suffers from a rare autoimmune disease that causes severe allergic reactions to the outdoors. He can't breathe outdoors, and his skin starts burning whenever he is exposed to non-purified air. Even inside his home, he has to live his life in a sterile bubble, and has to wear an airtight hazmat suit when venturing out. Geez, I would go crazy living mostly in a bubble my whole life. As Eli and his parents are leaving their motel room, a group of rude guys start making fun of Eli in his hazmat suit. They throw what looks like little firecrackers at Eli, which startles him and causes him to trip. A rip in his suit allows air to seep into it, causing Eli to hyperventilate and struggle to breathe. Seriously, what jerks. Get a life, fellas. His parents quickly tape up the tear, calm Eli down, and get the heck out of there. As they get closer to their destination, Eli sees a red-haired girl creepily eyeing their car. Also, what's up with those cluster of fly bugs things the movie cuts to? Suspicious. Rose and Paul are taking Eli to Dr. Isabella Horn's private medical facility, in a large, old house that has been modernized and hermetically quarantined. They believe Dr. Horn is their last hope. The family has to pass through a decontamination chamber to enter the facility. Dr. Horn and her nurses greet the family on the other side of the chamber. Eli is given a separate bedroom from his parents. He is initially skeptical about taking off his hazmat suit, but once he does, he's overjoyed. He lovingly embraces his mother, after a really long time without having any allergic reaction, and enjoys comforts he was previously denied, like take an actual shower. However, his happiness is short-lived, as he begins to experience supernatural phenomena in various parts of the house. He hears strange noises, and someone heavily breathing over his window. He tells Dr. Horn about his experiences, but she dismisses his concerns, calling them normal side effects of medicines Eli is taking. Eli's first stage of treatment begins. He is taken into an operation room, where the nurses strap him to an operating table. It is revealed that Eli's condition first started becoming visible 4 years ago. Dr. Horn tells Eli that he has a failing immune system. In normal, healthy bodies, stem cells in the marrow produce antibodies. However, in Eli's body, that gene is impaired. Thus, Dr. Horn tells Eli that she is going to inject a special modified virus into his body to reset his immune system. Eli slowly falls unconscious as Dr. Horn operates on him. That looks like torture. Count me out. I'd stay in the bubble instead. Eli later gains consciousness and finds himself strapped to the operating table in extreme pain. He pleads with the doctor to let him go, but she tells him the pain is a sign the medical procedure is working. Eli screams from excruciating pain, and his skin blisters. He squirms in agony, trying to free himself from the bonds before passing out again. Eli then wakes up in his bed in his room, not sure whether it was a nightmare or if it really happened. Eli then hears sounds coming from his window. When he inspects, he finds the same red-haired girl he saw on his drive over to the facility, pelting pebbles at his window. After the girl signals him to meet her, excited to finally see someone his own age, Eli sneaks downstairs, exploring the house, looking for a way to get closer to the girl. He finds a room with huge glass windows. The girl, Haley, appears on the other side of the window and introduces himself. She tells Eli that she knows he's sick, as she's seen other kids in the facility before. They befriend each other, and Eli tries to impress her with a magic card trick, but Haley shows off a better trick of her own by setting a twig on fire. Eli then invites her inside, but Haley refuses as she finds the house creepy, and Dr. Horn isn't so fond of her. After Haley leaves, while turning to his room, Eli hears a thudding sound coming from a sealed room with lots of covered furniture. When he shines a flashlight into the room, he is spooked by an apparition of a girl. Scared, Eli starts running, but the ghost starts chasing him. Eli loses his balance and trips. He then notices a shadow approaching him from behind the curtain. When the curtain opens, Eli's dad, Paul, appears and scolds him for wandering around the facility. Later in his room, Eli again observes thudding noises and his closet's door opening by itself. He then notices a silhouette forming behind a curtain, as if a child was hiding behind it. Eli is frightened and inspects the curtain, but doesn't find anyone. He then tries to seemingly communicate with the apparition by blowing his hot breath over the window and writing his name over the fog. The ghost responds and writes, "Lie," on the window. Eli drops his torch and retreats. He notices an apparition of a girl in the mirror standing by the window. When he checks, the apparition again disappears. He breathes a sigh of relief when the girl starts creeping out of his closet. He falls down and desperately tries to crawl away from the girl, but she grabs his leg and starts pulling him. He starts screaming, but it turns out it's actually his dad, Paul, grabbing him, trying to calm him down. Dr. Horn, Rose, and Paul discuss what's happening to Eli. Dr. Horn tells them that Eli's body is only reacting to the medical procedure. She tells them that Eli's medication is extremely strong, and warns that Eli's condition could worsen before it starts to heal. Rose is worried for Eli, but Paul assures her that he will get well. The following day, Eli goes for his second procedure. He is again strapped to a table. Dr. Horn injects Eli with an injection, and Eli's body starts to burn, and he screams in pain. He tells them it's burning, but Dr. Horn said it's supposed to happen. The nurse then shaves a small area of his head. The doctor tells him the gene therapy virus was working, but it wasn't able to cross the blood-brain barrier. Dr. Horn then takes a drill and starts drilling into Eli's skull. What kind of treatments are these? Holy crap. Outside, Dr. Horn informs his parents that he had a reaction to the procedure, but he will be alright. At dinner, Eli tells his parents he wants to leave. I don't blame him. He tells them that he feels his condition is getting worse, and now he feels even more sick. Paul, who has already spent a fortune on Eli's treatment, gets angry. Paul tells Eli that he feels sick because the procedure is working, and they must continue the treatment. Later that night, Eli hears noises coming from his bathroom. He notices a shadow moving behind the shower curtain. Upon inspection, the shadow disappears. He then notices someone standing behind him in the corner. He tells himself that it's not real, but the ghost then reaches from behind the curtain and tries to grab him. Eli, frightened, sprints for the door, but finds it locked. He pleads for someone to open the door. The ghost starts approaching him, and with no other choice, Eli hides in the closet, pleading with the apparition to leave him alone. The closet falls down, and the banging stops. Eli gathers some courage and steps out. He finds the word lie carved in the closet over and over again. The commotion brings Eli's parents and Dr. Horn to Eli's room. They accuse him of destroying his room. Eli is frustrated that no one believes him. Later, Haley throws rocks at Eli's windows again. He goes down to talk to her. Seeing Eli so sleep-deprived, she inquires if he is okay. He tells her that he has been seeing ghosts around the house and hasn't been able to rest. Haley then reveals that a previous patient named Perry complained too about seeing apparitions around the house. The longer Perry'd stay in the facility, the clearer he saw the specters. Haley reveals that Perry disappeared after the third procedure. Before they could finish talking, strange things again starts to happen. Eli tells Haley to wait outside and goes to check out the commotion. In the hallway, an unseen force tries to grab hold of Eli. He tries to escape, but he starts to get dragged on the floor. In the glass reflection, Eli notices that 3 ghosts are dragging him. He pleads with them to let him go. He somehow manages to free himself and runs, but the ghosts again grab him and drag him into the decontamination chamber at the front door, possibly to drag him out of the house. Knowing he'll start burning and blistering when he comes in contact with the air outside, Eli pleads with the ghost to stop. The ghosts enter the passcodes, and the main door starts to open. Eli holds his breath, but Dr. Horn appears and immediately carries him back into the house. Paul and Rose rush downstairs to find Eli out of breath, lying on the floor. Dr. Horn tries to sedate him, but Eli confronts her about her patient Perry and calls her a liar. Rose tries to calm him down, but an angry Eli pulls himself away and slams his hand through glass, wounding himself. Eli passes out and wakes up in his room. Eli sees the carvings made by the ghost earlier and realizes that the word lie might actually be an upside-down 317. Eli meets Haley again. He tells her that the ghost might not be trying to harm him. Eli speculates the apparitions were possibly trying to help him escape by dragging him out of the house, and the 317 they have been writing might be a code to a door. Interesting and smart thought, Eli. He theorizes that it could be the passcodes to the medical wing of the house. Later that night, Eli successfully sneaks into the locked part of the house using the code. He finds his way into Dr. Horn's office. He goes through her files, but struggles to find anything valuable. The ghosts then seemingly guide him through whispers. They lead him to a locker, inside of which he finds all of Dr. Horn's previous patients. He learns that all of her patients were killed by the third procedure. Shocker. Seeing the files, he freaks out and runs to his parents to tell them about what happened to Dr. Horn's previous patients, but only finds his father. Paul calms Eli down. As he hugs Eli, giving him a false sense of security, Paul injects Eli with a serum. Wow. I knew Paul looked suspicious. Never trusted him. The nurses appear and drag him towards the operating room as Eli screams. Dr. Horn is surprised to see her drug failing to work on Eli. Eli's parents' car outside somehow catches fire and distracts the nurse. Eli uses the opportunity to break free and barricades himself in Dr. Horn's personal room. There, he finds a photograph of Horn and her assistants dressed as nuns. Eli realizes that Horn is actually a nun. An insect then guides him into a hidden passage that leads into an underground chamber. Eli holds his breath and ventures into the room, where he comes across a circular tomb surrounded by an altar with a cross and a dagger. Dr. Horn catches up with him and locks him inside the chamber. He experiences an allergic reaction and passes out. When he awakes, he finds he can breathe fine. Excited, he calls for his mother, who then rushes to see him. Rose tries to apologize to Eli and tells him they're all just trying to help, and promises to explain everything once the final procedure is completed. Eli slumps down, pretending to fall unconscious. Worried, Rose opens the gate and approaches him, but he knocks her unconscious with a heavy crucifix he has removed from the wall and runs outside. Nice plan, Eli. Paul and Dr. Horn notice Eli escaping and run after him. Eli runs into the room with a huge glass window and locks himself inside. A frightened Eli tells Haley, who is on the other side of the window, to help him. Haley tells him he has to be brave and that he must not be scared, as it's Horn and the others who are scared of him. He tries breaking the window open, but Paul breaks into the room and drags him away. Meanwhile, Rose gains consciousness back at the basement. She learns that the crucifix with which Eli struck her contains a dagger. She grows suspicious. Upon further inspection, she then discovers that the stone monument concealed the dead bodies of Horn's previous patients, bound and adorned with large religious symbols. She realizes that all of Horn's patients were killed by her treatment. Paul helps the nurses carry Eli back to the operating table and restrain him, when a horrified and angry Rose shows up with a dagger and holds everyone at knife point. Finally, Rose gets it. Horn tells her she can cure Eli, but Rose insists on taking Eli back home. She asks Paul to help her. Paul calms her down and tricks her into turning the knife over to him. Paul holds Rose back. As Horn begins the final procedure, Eli pleads with Dr. Horn to let him go. He repeatedly tells her that he is not sick. Horn tells him that the sickness is inside him, and then grabs a Bible. Dr. Horn starts chanting the Lord's Prayer and asks St. Michael to help Eli. She prays for the demon to leave Eli. She then takes holy water and blesses Eli. Eli's skin burns and sizzles when the holy water touches his body. He screams from unbearable pain, and the lights flicker and sparks fly. Horn then takes the dagger and proceeds to stab Eli in the heart. Just as the dagger was about to touch Eli's heart, Eli summons his powers and uses telekinesis to stop Horn. Horn continues to try to stab him, but Eli then makes Horn stab herself in the heart. Eli then breaks free. His eyes turn red and screams in anger. The nurses panic and try to escape, but Eli stops them. He lifts Horn and her nurses in the air and causes them to spin around, upside down with their arms spread out, seeming like an inverted cross, a symbol of Satan. Their bodies then burst into flame, and when their bodies drop to the floor, it sets the house on fire. He turns to Rose and demands to know what's happened to him. Eli's mother tells him that she wanted a son so badly that she turned to Satan, but he lied that Eli would be a normal child. Eli is a spawn of the devil, and his allergic reactions were manifestations of his emerging powers. Paul advances behind Eli with the sacrificial dagger, but Eli immobilizes him and kills him by crushing his face. Eli embraces his newfound powers and identity and heads outside. Eli and his mother leave the burning house, where Haley greets them. She reveals that she too was a child of Satan, and that she wasn't able to save him, as he had to find and prove his own power. She offers to take Eli to his true father. When he accepts, Haley questions if they can trust Rose. He indicates that they can. The movie ends with Rose driving the two children away as the facility is burning down.